I want to walk you through how to send emails using one of the more popular email services. Your Gmail, your Yahoo, your Live, Bing, whatever it is now. It's pretty simple. There's a couple of things that you have to know. I will say at the outset of this video that if you have already watched the videos on how to send email and I've used the Gmail account in that video, and you get it, you don't need to watch this anymore. But if you haven't watched any of those videos or you maybe weren't sure about why I was using this method or this class, then this is the perfect video for you. So the first thing that I need to have set up is we need a project, and we'll just grab a script task. I didn't, or I'm not really going to cover the reasons that the send mail task is so awful for this type of work, but you do not want to use that. You want to use the script task. We've talked enough about the send mail, so you might want to go look at that if you're not sure why we wouldn't want to use that. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the script task here, and I usually flip a guitar pick for this, and see, do I have one? No, I have one on my desk, so I'm just going to choose VB. So, I could make this really complex with all kinds of variables and show you all that, but really I'm going to try to keep it simple. You can add your own complexity to it. Let's just grab some script here. And we can get rid of all the junk. We don't need all of you. Thank you. And so we're going to go down here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to send email from a Yahoo, Gmail, Live, MSN, Hotmail, whatever account, right? So to do that, there's really three steps that you have to go through. So step one is going to be build what you are sending. In other words, you're sending an email, right? Step two is going to be build your transport mechanism. That's the how that you plan to send it. Okay, and so that's going to be an SMTP server, IMAP, whatever your plan is for sending. We're going to use SMTP here. And then the final step would be send what you are building, the email, through the transport mechanism, which is SMTP. So it's a fairly simple process. Now to do that, we're going to take advantage of the System.net namespace. I will tell you that in the real world, that's not what I do. So I'm showing you, this is one of those cases where I'm showing you probably something that in a larger project I would not do. And the reason is that I find System.net.mail, which we may as well go ahead and we have to have these guys anyway. So we need both System.net and System.net.mail. And for those of you that are using C#, those would obviously be you're using directives using System.net, using System.net.mail. The reason that I don't like System.net.mail is I have to do too much work with it. So I prefer third-party controls. There are a number of them. I prefer the most popular one. I'm not going to say what it is here because I kind of have a thing about promoting third-party things in the videos. I kind of try to keep myself away from that. But the most popular one that's out there is the one that I use because it's just pure awesomeness and it's cheap, and so I would really use that. So I'm just telling you, okay? So let's go ahead and just do step one. So the first thing that we need to do, we have to bring in a mail message. So let's just say we'll call this my email as a new mail message. So, and the mail message has a couple of overrides here. We can just say right there, the from, the to, the subject. We can put mail addresses in here. I'm going to use my demo account, Scott's Temp Email at gmail.com. And I chose Gmail for this video because Gmail is the more difficult of the major providers to send through. And so then I want to send it to the same one. And okay, so I notice now that I have a little duplicity going on. So, I'm having to duplicate my work. So, I'm a programmer, so I think, wow, I may as well go put in my address is scottstemp@gmail.com, and then I can just replace with that. So we've built the mail message. I need to kind of customize it. What do you want the subject to be from SSIS? Don't do the body just yet. Do you want it to be an HTML body? So I'll say false, which is really redundant because that's the default. And I will actually go ahead and do the body. Equal from my glorious VB code. So I've defined what I'm sending. Now in the real world, I would not send such a simplistic message. My body probably has derived from variables or from some file like we did in some of the previous videos. So this is rather simplistic. My goal in this video is just to focus on how to wire up the SMTP portion because I found that was just kind of difficult. So let's get down here. So now you need an SMTP transport mechanism. So there's a couple of things that you have to know. So let's just put these under the headline of you need to know what your SMTP server's address is. So usually these are things like smtp.gmail.com, smtp.yahoo.co.uk, something like that. That's probably what it's going to be. To find this out, here's what I would suggest you do. You need to go to whatever the email client, go to it on the web, and then go to their help settings there and figure out what that SMTP server setting is. So I could probably find it here by doing the help. I don't know. I may not be able to find it here as I have no. They're configuring other email clients, and then I'd go down and find out what the SMTP server is, and there is the information that we're going to need. So I'm going to have to use that information. So what I need right there is smtp.gmail.com. So I come back, and then other things that I would need to know were also listed on that. What port to send through. And then I need to know what, and I see a spelling error. I'm sure you saw it already. Which account and password to send email through. And let's see, whether SSL is required. Most of the big providers will require you use an SSL connection. Gmail certainly does. Once you have that, now it's just a matter of bringing in the SMTP client class. So we'll just call SMTP as new SMTP client. And one of the overrides is you pass in what's called the host. The host is up here, aka the host. So whatever the SMTP server was, smtp.gmail.com is what you put right there. What port do you send through? 587. You can use either 25, 465, or 587. 25 is probably not going to work. Just depends on what your organization allows through the firewall too. The next thing you need to do is do your credentials. So we'll use a network credential so that we can pass in our username and password. So our username is my address actually, and my password is learn it first. And then do we have to use SSL? Well, Google's thing said that it is required, yes. So I have to use that. Now, one thing you need to know about this network credential is this is a full address. So it will be your full email address, not just like Scott's Temp email. So enable SSL equals true, and then you send it. So just call your object and tell it to use the send method on my email. And that's it. For those of you in C#, obviously you're going to need to put semicolons at the end of this. Your false and true need to be different. You've got a different variable syntax here, var SMTP equal new, but it's the same code. And I've attached this with this video so that you can have this done. So I'll call this the VB version. And I will also put in a C# version with this just so you could copy and paste into your own. And if we're successful, we get it from our Gmail, and there it is, right there. Not too difficult, right? So I think that's it. Just use the video as an example. Use the package as your own, and good luck.